Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Josmara Kings, aka Jos, and today's topic is going to be about anxiety. The reason why I wanted to talk about anxiety is because I perceive that it affects a lot of us, and not a lot of us are willing to speak out about it and seek the help that we should get. And it's stopping us from living our day-to-day lives and feeling like we can live our best life, where it's something so normal that pretty much happens to a lot of us in different scenarios, and if managed and treated well, we can overcome it and find the right solution to deal with it on a day-to-day, to reach the outcome of living our best life and being our popping selves and going through the world feeling like we can conquer through anything. So here's the topic: anxiety. Let's get to it. So let's talk about it. What is anxiety? Anxiety is an intense emotion triggered by memories, by day-to-day activities, by social activities, thinking about the past or the future, that cause worry and fear in individuals. Symptoms of anxiety vary from different people. It can be sweating, it can be impaired speech and like speaking fast, mumbling, stuttering, increased heart rate, increased breathing pattern or decreased breathing pattern. If you tend to have anxiety attacks or panic attacks, tightness of chest, difficult breathing. For some people, their hands go numb or they feel like they're like tingling in the middle of them. Sometimes their legs feel, but it's just an intense body reaction to mind, thoughts, things happening around us on a day-to-day situation. So first I wanted to talk about my experience with anxiety, how I came to terms with the fact that I do have anxiety, and then how I came to terms to doing something about it, and then what little solution worked for me to help me control my anxiety to live the best life that I possibly can. So as you guys already know, I was born and raised in the Dominican Republic. When I came to this country, it was a lot of changes very, very fast. One day I was in a tropical Caribbean beautiful island, and then the next day I was here. I'm kidding. Here is pretty great, but it was a big change. It was a big change in climate and people and the things that I was seeing around me day to day. But anxiety specifically for me started happening around school. And let me tell you what. Let me tell you my process of I was chilling and then I was not chilling thinking I was gonna die. So one of the first few things is that in Dominican Republic, we go to school for 4 to 5 hours on a day. Like grammar school, elementary school, all that good stuff. In here, y'all go to school for like 13 hours. But like, who does that? Like, who in their right mind decided to sit there and go to school for that long? For me, that big change from having 4 hours out of my day to dedicate to my education, and then the rest of my time to be with family. We used to travel, go to the beaches, go to the lake, go see my grandmother, go see my cousin, all those things. Now here we're all stripped. It was, I went to school Monday to Friday, focused on just that, and then Saturday, Sunday, that's all I had to figure out who I was, what I wanted to do in the world. It was a big dramatic change. The first couple of days of school, I made it through the first day of school, luckily. But by the second day, by the time my mother would come to my bedroom to wake me up, I already was up, like feeling like I was about to die, feeling like my chest was gonna pour out of its body, my hands were sweating, and I didn't know what was happening, and I was just trying to fight through it. But by the time my foot set step on that school, I would literally break out hysterically crying. And that continued on for like the next 2-3 weeks of that year, and everybody was like, what is wrong with this chick? Like, my parents thought I was just being a brat. They were like, here we go, she just wants to stay home. It got to the point that my parents, like, if they saw that look in my face in the morning, they were like, you know what, just stay in bed, because we're not gonna go through this. I'm not gonna take you to school, then bring you back. Like, it's a whole mess. That happened for the next 3-4 years. Literally the first 2 to 3 weeks of me starting school was the same thing. I would get up, I would lose it, my foot would step in that school, and I would completely lose it again, my breathing, everything. It got to the point where I was in the nurse's office. They were like, she's here, our like 9 o'clock appointment is here, right on time, sit down, take a minute, you know. I think they even had a special chair for me. They have my chair, they have my little napkins, teacher name, how you doing, Jos? Hello, Miss Torres. Hello, Smith, how you doing? Literally, like, it was a routine. And then after a while, they'll be like, all right, she's doing better now, go on back to class. Wild, right? It wasn't about to like I want to say seventh grade, where they had a new nurse that come in, and the new nurse, you know, sat me down. She was like, what's wrong with this kid? And I'm there like crying, trying to control myself to go back to class. And she was like, come in my office. And she comes inside and she's like, so talk to me, what's going on? She was like so cute and like nice, and I'm here blubbering like a fish. I'm like I just don't want to be here. And she was like, okay, let's talk about it. So we started talking. This was the first person that didn't expect an answer from me. This was the first person who sat down and just asked, what's wrong? she wasn't in a hurry to send me back to class. She was like, yo, get over. Like, this is the first person that I generally felt comfortable enough in that moment to sit there and start talking, to start letting her know, like, this was happening. People in my life before that have tried it, but it's always been kind of like, I got stuff to do. Like, come on, like, stop crying. You're okay. It's just school. Where in my head, I was like, it doesn't feel that way. Like, why don't you understand? And she told me, she was like, have you ever had an anxiety attack or a panic attack? And I'm like, I don't know what that is. And she was like, well, I think this is what's happening to you. And she's like, well, I don't know, let's talk about it. Let's do a couple things and then we'll see how we can help you. And I was like, okay. She goes off and gets a brown paper bag. I'm here like, yes, I'm about to get a free lunch. It's about to be great. Food fixes everything. Let's talk about it. So she goes back with a brown paper bag and I see that it's empty. I'm like, yo, I'm not even gonna get a sandwich, some jello from this. Like, what's going on? She was like, listen, take this brown paper bag and what I want you to do is put it over your mouth and nose, breathe into it for 3 seconds, and then exhale 3 seconds from the bag, and my breathing calmed down. She's like, this is what I want you to do. Tomorrow in the morning, if you start feeling the feelings that you're feeling, take your brown paper bag out and do what we just did. See if it calms you down. If during the day you feel any type of thing, come in to see me and we can do it together if you don't feel comfortable. The next day, same feeling again in the morning. I took out my brown paper bag in the bathroom. I did it. I felt a lot better. I made it to the school. My foot went skirt and I didn't cry. And after that, I was fine. Like, I would feel it here and there, but I would have the reassurance that if anything was going to happen, I had it with me, that I was going to be okay. Like, I just needed 5 minutes to go to the nurse and get myself together. And the nurse literally, like, she would see me, she's like, hey, and I would say hello, kind of. She would always look at me kind of like, you're doing good? And I'm like, yes. And she would always be like, you're okay? And I'm like, yes, I'm good. And that feeling of like, she knew that, oh my god, it was just a beautiful feeling, because it was like she knew what it was and she just took the patience to get me there. I'm in high school, you know, I had to put my big girl panties on, so I did have my brown paper bag, but after a while I didn't need it, just because it was like 5 years now. I'm in this country, ain't nobody gonna bring me back, so I had to deal with it. So I found my pace and I got there, and I thank that nurse saying, girl, you changed my life forever. I learned a lot more of it through life, through watching videos, like people telling me, doing like some yoga stuff, doing exercises where I relieve a lot of my stress. Later on in college, the same thing with finals, etc. It wasn't until later on in life, after I graduated college, again, I went through a major shift and change. And that literally led me to having one of the most scariest and traumatic panic attacks I ever had in my life. So to give you just a little snippet of that experience, so in a matter of a month, I went from being stable to everything in my life changing completely, and changing so frequently that a whole month went by to me and it felt like a week. And then one day I said, you know what, today's the first day that I'm gonna have where I'm not gonna do anything. It was the first day that I didn't have to check on somebody, that I didn't have to call nobody, that I didn't have to go to work, that I didn't have to drive, so that I didn't have to travel, like I didn't have to buy things, I didn't have to, you know, it was just me. And I said that day to just be me. And literally, I remember this like it was yesterday. Literally, I was in my bed and all I could hear was the silence. All I could hear is the silence of my life. All I could hear is the blankness. And all of a sudden, everything that I didn't process in that month hit me in a matter of seconds. Every memory, every thought, every triggering decision, every step that I took, every step that I didn't take, hit me like a brick in a matter of seconds, where I went from being a very calm, stable to progressively being a destructive person. And I lost control of who I was in a second. My mind was racing from 0 to 100 real quick, and I couldn't, and it happened so quickly that I didn't have time to process and tame it down or find a solution of what was happening, because it was a buildup of so many instances and circumstances that it led me to my tipping point. And I found myself literally on the floor thinking I was going to have a heart attack. My chest felt so tight. My breathing, there was not 1 ounce of air entering my body, and every thought wouldn't stop reoccurring and coming through my mind, where I was literally on the floor, curled up, unable to move. When the chance that I was able to finally kind of gain conscious of what was happening, I was able to call a friend, and luckily that person picked up, and I ended up in a three-way conversation with these friends, and they were able to kind of walk me through, and it reminded me of the time that somebody didn't expect nothing from me. They just wanted to like talk to me through it, like what, like just breathe, just stay in that moment and just tell me what's going on. And last thing I know, I was in a hospital. All I remember was being driven. All I remember was an ambulance taking me out of my apartment, entering a hospital, waking up to my friend next to me, and then me going back to sleep. Boom. That's all I remember. And I remember being back home and looking around my apartment like, oh, who did this? I looked at my apartment, I'm like, who did this? And I'm looking, I'm like, oh, that was me. I'm like, okay. Then it hit me. I was like, oh yeah, I think I need some help. It was a very scary time in my life, but I got through it, and I reached a point where I had to let my pride down. I had to let my ego down and understand that this was something beyond me and that I did need help to cope with my emotions. And this brings me to my next subject. But we tend to have pride and ego in our lives. So when people start talking, hey, you need help, you need to seek help, you need to talk to somebody, a therapist, a psychotherapist, automatically the pride and ego go up and they're like, girl, I'm not crazy. And this had nothing to do with being crazy. It's like the same thing. If something was wrong with your heart, you would go to a doctor to fix it. Something was wrong with my mind, with my thinking, and I needed to go to a doctor to help me fix it. And I'm gonna tell you right here, right now, I am popping. I'm not gonna say that I'm never gonna have an anxiety attack or a panic attack, but I do know the solutions that worked for me. I found the right equation that works for me, that I am able to understand what's happening and nip it in the bud, control it, gather my thinking, get back to myself, and I am living my best life in the most possible way that I can today. So these are a couple tips that I wanted to share with you that worked for me and potentially can work for you. Send this to a friend, send this to a colleague, or if not, let's talk about it. Let's start the conversation. The first thing that I'm gonna say is have patience. It's a process. You have to understand your triggers, you have to understand the leading emotions to it, and then you have to understand the solution that works for you. The way that I can explain it is like, you're gonna need a little bit of this, you're gonna need a little bit of that, you're gonna need a whole lot of that, and you're gonna be that bitch. That's the equation right there, and to find that equation is gonna take time. Number 2 is write your thoughts down. You ever notice how you never have an anxiety attack or a panic attack from good thoughts? It's never like, oh, I'm filled with all these positivities, I'm so overwhelmed. It's always by negative things. You ever just notice that? Why is that? Let's talk about it. One of the things that worked for me is writing stuff down. Every negative thought or everything that I was thinking through in that moment, I would write it down, just to let it out of my brain, to let it filter out, to let me get to a point where I'm starting to see a pattern and understand, what are these thoughts trying to tell me? But also, what I would used to do is I would write something, that a negative thing, and I would find the lie in that and then find the truth in it. For example, one of the things was like, I'm never gonna amount anything to life, I'm not gonna do anything with my life, I'm just a bum. And I was like, wait a minute, that's not true. I have a job. Might not be the perfect job that I want, but I have a job. I show up, I am there, I interact, boom. I write the positive of that negative down so that I can gauge the truth with the lie. We're so focused sometimes on seeing the negative things on life that we never take the time to just focus and sit and view the good things that we have in our life and that we are able to offer, not only for others but to ourselves. Number 3 is a jazzercise. Exercise. If you saw The Grinch, you got it. If you didn't, good luck to ya. Exercise doesn't mean you have to go do CrossFit or you have to do kickboxing or you have go for a walk, sis. If you have stairs in your house, go up and down them. If you don't want to go outside, there's YouTube, there's a TV, there's a phone. Like, you have many ways to sit there and get some type of movement in your body. Allow your brain to just stop for a moment. And actually, exercising releases chemicals in your body that make you feel good and make you have that little glimpse of moment where you start thinking positively, and that can transcend you out of the emotions you were feeling. Next is breathing. Take the time to understand your breathing. Are you inhaling too much? Are you exhaling too much? And that gets your brain into thinking about something else and shift the energy to you, to something that you're naturally doing, and improve it. There's different techniques online to help you find a good pattern of breathing, like inhale for a certain amount of time, exhale for a certain amount of time. It all starts with your breath. The minute you start focusing on that and shift your mind to that, automatically the thoughts and the memories kind of quiet down because you shift your focus and shift your energy to something that you're naturally doing. The next one is talk about it. I'm not a person that I don't like people knowing what's going on in my head. It's just a me thing. I don't know if it's a you thing. I get it. Like, I'm here for you. I felt it. But you know what? There are people in this world. Let me tell you a secret. There are people in this world that are literally trained for this. Like, this is their job. Like, they sit there and they're ready to listen to whatever you have to say. So if you don't feel comfortable talking to a friend, being open up to people who are in your daily life, Go see somebody. They are literally counselors in your school, and sometimes your job provide them. If not, call your insurance. There's different things you can do. We find excuses. If we go see somebody, somebody's gonna find out. No, let them know, hey, don't send mail to my house. If you got something to tell me, send it to me in an email personally. Contact me directly, and then you can start having those conversations. But there is help. You just have to be willing to take the first step to go get it. And also, whenever you are ready, if you can, talk about it around with your friends, because you know what, when I started talking about it with the people around in my circle, I was very surprised and shocked at the people who were like, yo, I know what you're talking about. I've been there. I've been in that position. This is what helped me. Could try this. And even what I told them, they were like, I've never thought about it that way. Maybe I should do this and write some stuff down. And we started having a conversation, and sometimes here and there we check in. We don't make it a big thing. We don't make it a big thing anymore, because it isn't. It's a normal, perfectly thing that happens to a lot of us, and we talk about it and we get through it. Last but not least is live your authentic self. There are ways to control it, and there are ways to live with it on a day-to-day basis where it's not even really there. It just becomes a habit that you do. You wake up, you focus on your breathing. It starts you off having a good day. It's just another thing. Just like you put on underwear, you breathe to get yourself to be ready for today and be the baddest bitch that you could be. It's all start with you and living your truth. And once you start living your truth, it just is another thing you do. It's just another step in your routine, ultimately leading you to live your best life in the best possible way you can, people. Let's get motivated and let's talk about it. Anxiety, what? Yes. And you know what? I'm dealing with it. I'm popping still with it, and I'm living my best life with it. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching my YouTube video. I'm very excited to start this conversation. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, any suggestions, please put them down below. Let me know. Let other people know. I want to hear your stories. I want to hear your experiences. If not, send me a little message on Instagram. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you guys. Hope you guys have a good week. Peace.